my channel. It is your girl, Dutchy. And yes, hello, we have a new setup. What is this? Who is she? Yeah, my boyfriend and I completely rearranged my bedroom last weekend. So we now have a new filming nook. And you might be asking yourself, hey Dutchy, where's the flag? Never you fear. I've got some really cool things in the works. I want to have some sort of neon sign here, whether it's like Dutchy or whether it's like the Dubai flag or just something cool. So I'm planning on having stuff in the background eventually, but that's not something I can get my hands on super quick. It's something that needs to be custom made and it'll take a little bit of time. So I'm currently surrounded by plants, but that will change soon. I will bring some things into the scene here to look super cool, but yeah, I love it. I'll probably show you a better video of it or an overlay of it here. I'll just pop it over the screen, but this is basically what we did. My desk used to be here and I used to film on my bed, so now obviously this is my filming nook here. Super duper comfy to chill in. This is where I'm going to be podcasting from as well. So yeah, nah, I just needed something new and fresh. I was a little bit over where I was sitting. I was just a little bit over it, wanted something new, and yeah, that's what we've got. Had a wee bit of a mental breakdown last night, not going to lie. It's just life's been really rough at the moment and I know you guys are super understanding of that, but there is a lot of pressure surrounding social media and jobs in social media to perform and always be on and always be pumping out content even when we don't have the mental capacity to do so. So I physically couldn't do it last week. I couldn't do it mentally, physically. I just didn't have it in me, so I apologize for that. But we are back and ready to go with a video on tips on how to come out. So whether you're wanting to come out to your friends, your family, your grandparents, a sibling, your dog, your fish, whoever, and I sincerely hope that at least one of the many tips that I'm about to give you help you in some way, relieve some stress or anxiety surrounding coming out in some way, or just makes you feel a little bit better about the whole coming out process. If you're sitting there watching this video and you are currently struggling with either your sexual identity, your gender identity, or anything else, I see you, I feel you, and I want you to know you are valid. And most importantly, you are not alone. There are so many of us individuals in the LGBTQ+ community that have gone through exactly what you're going through right now. You will get through this, I promise. And I also want to preface this video by saying, as I always do, you do not need to come out. You never have to label yourself. You never have to come out to anyone. That is not a requirement. There is no rule book. Yeah, you never have to come out. So if you're watching this video going, I never want to come out, I don't want to give myself a label, I'm not comfortable with that, please know that just because I'm creating this video on how to come out, that does not mean that you have to come out. I'm purely providing advice for those of you who are thinking about coming out or are scared to or want to know ways to or how to go about it and how to approach it. But yes, please remember that you never have to label yourself. You are just as valid in identifying as whatever sexuality, gender identity, whatever, regardless of whether you come out or not. So without further ado, let's head on into this video of tips on how to come out. Oh, she's getting comfy. All right, I'm getting comfy so I can list my tips up here in this beautiful clear section. Also have no idea if I'm even focused right now. I feel like it's focusing on this and not me, and maybe even this plant leaf. Let's just move him a bit. You are not the center of attention, thank you. Place it with this beautiful rainbow pot that I painted ages ago. All right, cool. Is that better? I hope I'm in focus. If I'm not, I apologize. Oh dear. Okay, so my first tip for coming out is to make sure you are ready. Make sure you are 100% comfortable within your label, within your sexuality, gender identity, whatever it is. Make sure you are 100% comfortable with it before coming out to anyone else, and give yourself time to become comfortable with it. I know you might be thinking or just starting to come to terms with your sexuality and thinking, oh my god, this is so exciting, I just want to tell someone, but it can take longer than just realizing you're attracted to, say, girls. For me, as soon as I realized I was like attracted to women, I was like, oh my god, but I did keep it to myself for a while because I wanted to make sure this just wasn't one particular girl that I was attracted to or anything like that. I wanted to make sure that I just wanted to be 100% sure of my feelings and my attraction. But I can understand when you first start figuring this out, all you want to do is tell someone or tell your best friend or your mom or your sibling. Yeah, I get that. But allowing yourself time to figure all of this out also allows you and gives you time to figure out out how to come out, if you're going to come out, who you're going to tell and how and when, and all those sorts of things, rather than just blurting it out and then later regretting who you told or how you told them. In saying this, there is no right or wrong time to come out. There is no specific time frame, there is no rule book. Everyone's journey is different. Know that it's okay to wait. Even if you really want to tell someone, it is okay to wait. Those people aren't going anywhere. Your sexuality or gender identity isn't going anywhere. It's who you are and it's a part of you. I think it's also important to note that there is no right age to come out, no matter what people tell you. If you're 12 and you already know that you're gay or transgender or non-binary, some people might try telling you that you're too young to be aware of this, you're too young to have figured that out, or how could you possibly know that? You're only 12 or you're only whatever age. But I disagree. At the end of the day, it is our feelings, our attraction, our identity, whatever we are feeling, and we can feel that within ourselves better than anyone else can see that. Thank you very much, Karen. We live with our own selves 24/7. We know what's going on up in this business, okay, Karen? But after some time of getting to know yourself and being 100% comfortable with whatever label you were about to give yourself or have given yourself and you would like to come out, there are a few questions that you should ask yourself before coming out, which brings me into tip number 2. Ask yourself these questions. Is it safe to come out? Do you have some people around you or people that you can go to for support if things don't go as planned? AKA a plan B, someone to go to if things get a bit tense. And are you ready for the possibility of more people knowing than the amount of people you tell? Which will lead into another point that I have later on, which is to start small. But obviously with whoever you tell, you would hope that you could trust them, that they wouldn't tell anyone else. And a lot of the time it doesn't come out in malice or in a particularly awful way. But if you tell someone your sexuality, there's always the chance, no matter how much you trust them, that it'll accidentally come out. A message could accidentally be seen by someone else if you're doing it like that, you know, all those sorts of things. So are you prepared for more people to find out in some way or another than who you tell? Obviously, that's not the case for every situation, and I would hope, and you would hope, that whoever you tell first you can trust and won't tell a soul. And 9 times out of 10, that probably is the case. But just in case it is not, are you ready for that information to possibly come out to more than one person or more than 2 people or whoever you tell? These are some of the questions that you need to ask yourself. And if you say yes to all of them, yes, you have a backup, a plan B, and if it came out and other people knew, you'd be okay with it. Maybe not on top of the world, as you'd prefer to tell everyone yourself, but if it came out and you would be like, oh, okay, you know, then you're probably ready to come out. If you answered no to some of those questions, might not be the right time to come out. But if you are, that brings me into tip number 3, which is start small. And I seriously live by this tip. Start small. Tell 1 or 2 people. Don't go out and tell absolutely everyone, unless that's your thing. And if that's your thing and you're ready to scream out your sexuality, gender identity, whatever to the world, then by all means, absolutely go for it. Love that for you. But if you're not and you're just like, okay, I want to start by telling my best friend, my mom, one of my teachers, you know, someone like that. Tell someone you can trust, someone you can rely on, someone that's not going to go blabbering your sexuality or whatever to everyone. Telling one person and getting that positive feedback from them, someone that you know will support you regardless, no matter what, and then telling this person and getting that positive feedback and love and support will boost your confidence to tell others in future. Because let's face it, coming out can be a super duper anxious time for many of us, so why not reduce that anxiety by coming out to 1 or 2 close friends that you know will accept you. Maybe they're already part of the community. That also would help reduce that anxiety. Speaking of anxiety, I would like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. And before you ask, I've been taking a workshop on Skillshare that has been helping me deal with my anxiety, helping with self-care and lower all of that, because I've been going through it lately. Just quickly, for those of you who don't know, Skillshare is an online learning platform housing over 17,000 different classes and workshops. They have classes on photography, filmography, fashion, plants, food, cooking, lifestyle, anxiety, managing stress, all of those things. I honestly love it so much. I actually just had a really bad week anxiety-wise, so I went ahead and found this workshop called Self-Care Through Creativity, Turning Your Anxiety into Art. And it shows you how to pull inspiration from your emotions, which is something that I need, and it serves as a distraction, so it really helps when I'm anxious about whatever's going on in my life. This is one of the pots I painted last lockdown. I know you can't really see it, but It's kind of cool. I've come to find that things like painting and drawing really help to get me out of my head and just distract me for a while. I'm definitely not good at either of the two, but they definitely help reduce my anxiety, and I have Skillshare to thank for that. So if you're currently struggling with anxiety and you would like some helpful tips on things you can do to reduce that, or you're really artistic and you'd like to take the workshop, or you have another skill or hobby that you would like to level up in, I can guarantee that there is a class on there for you. And if you are wanting to try it out for free, a little trial membership, then today is your lucky day, because the first 1,000 of you to click the link in my description box will get a free trial of Skillshare membership for zilch, absolutely nothing. Go ahead and take that Skillshare workshop for free. You're welcome. Literally, what have you got to lose? Like, nothing. Now, back to the tips, and I think we're at tip 4. Knowing it's okay to change your mind. There is also a lot of anxiety surrounding coming out again. Sexuality is fluid and an ongoing journey. We all know this. So although my first tip was to take your time in figuring out your sexuality and exactly who you are, sometimes no matter how much time we take, it takes even longer to figure out our true sexuality or gender identity or whomever. It can take years and years of self-reflection, time to yourself, time with other people, things happening, learning from experiences, thinking you've figured out exactly who you are, only for months or years later to realize the first sexuality you labeled yourself as and genuinely thought you were just isn't cutting it for you anymore. And that's okay and totally fine, and it's okay to come out again, and I want you to know that. Society has a way of forcing people to come out, and often perhaps forcing people to come out too soon, perhaps before they've even realized their true identity. And it happens and it sucks. I think it's time we normalize coming out again. I think we need to stop telling people, oh, it was just a phase, when they were bisexual for a while and labeled themselves as this and then later came out as gay. It's okay. People aren't doing that on purpose to prove bisexuality as a phase. People are genuinely thinking they're bisexual and then later down the track coming to terms with them being a lesbian, and that is okay. Let's not attack people for that. Shouldn't we be uplifting people and being really warm and comforting and supportive of people finding their true identity? Yeah. Number 5, I think I'm up to 5, I'm not sure, but yes. Say you've come out, you started small, you came out to 1 or 2 people, it went swimmingly, they support you, they love you no matter what, and nothing bad happened. But you already knew that they were going to support you. They're either part of the LGBTQ+ community already, or you knew how they felt about the community, you knew that they would support you no matter what. Easy. You didn't have to do too much testing of the waters. Which leads perfectly into tip 5, which is gauge, test the waters. If you're now wanting to come out to someone new, whether that be grandparents, your family, your siblings, people that you haven't told yet, test the waters. I think that is the most important tip ever. Test the mother hecking waters, okay? And what I mean by that is bring up LGBTQ+ topics around them. Gauge how they feel about it. How do they act towards it? Bring up Mardi Gras, bring up Pride, bring up relevant LGBT topics, or Ellen DeGeneres. Okay, for God's sake, everyone knows that Ellen DeGeneres is a lesbian. That's what a lot of people see her as. That's her token thing other than the show that she has. So bring up Ellen and see what your family or friends or whomever you're coming out to next say about her. And if they call her a derogatory term or speak about her sexuality in a negative way, that'll probably give you a bit of an inkling about how they feel. But if they say nothing about her sexuality and they're just like, oh yeah, she's so annoying or something like that, might be okay. And obviously thirdly and lastly, if they're super duper supportive of it, yeah, like I love her, I love how she's so outwardly gay and like whatever. Are they encouraging and supportive, or are they negative? You could also just try bringing up other sexualities and gender identities just to see how much your family or friends or whoever you're telling know about it. Are they clueless? Do they have any idea what being non-binary is or being asexual is? Do you perhaps need to educate them more on a particular topic before you come out to them? A lot of the time, I know that shouldn't be your responsibility, but sometimes it's what we need to do. If they throw around homophobic comments or slurs, that is not okay and that's not a good sign. But if they're supportive and at least willing to learn, that's great. And this definitely is not what you want to hear, but if they are negative or homophobic, it's probably best to refrain from coming out to those certain people just to avoid, especially if it's in the home, because you don't want further conflict, you don't want to be feeling bad about your sexuality. And I know it's really hard and I know you want to come out and just be your best, true, authentic self, but sometimes it is honestly safer to keep that to yourself for a while until you can support yourself. Tip number 6. You don't always have to come out by sitting down and having a super uncomfortable formal chat. If you want to do that, that's cool. If you think that's the best way to come across to someone, that's cool. But there are other ways. You can write a letter. I think writing a letter is great. You can get out absolutely everything you want to say and articulate it well, rather than standing there stumbling over your words and being like, Mom, Dad, I'm bisexual, and it being a really awkward conversation. This way, you also don't have to answer any questions that get posed to you at the time. That's another thing to be prepared for. When you come out to someone, a lot of the time, people have questions. Not all the time. Some people might just be like, I know, or, oh, that's great, and hug you and support you and don't ask questions. But sometimes other people, parents especially, or family members especially, might have questions. And that's just something you need to be prepared for. If you give someone a letter, especially if they don't live with you, it can be a lot easier to formulate those responses if they call you, or if they send you a message saying, hey, look, I got your letter, blah, blah, blah. It's easier to respond that way. Or even if you do give them a letter, you give them a chance to read it. And then instead of them being like right in front of you and like responding straight away or being shocked or whatever, it can give them some time to digest that information and then come and chat to you about it if you want to speak to them and if they want to speak to you about it. I think letters are great. I think songs are great. You could come out with a TikTok. You could make a YouTube video and unlist it and send it to people. I do have a few videos like this and this regarding different ways to come out. So you should go check them out if you're looking for a different way to come out rather than just like sitting down and talking. But obviously there is nothing wrong with that either. You can just turn on some I'm coming out and come out of your closet with everyone in your room. So many different ways to do it. Tip number, I don't even know what tip I'm up to now, but it is always good practice to show patience and prepare for the worst. And those two go hand in hand. So a lot of the time, even if your family members or friends don't react positively straight away, or they're a little bit shocked, they're not necessarily going to be negative about it, but sometimes they need some time. You took a little bit of time to get used to yours and like realize your true identity. Now give them some time to come to terms with it as well. Obviously, we would love people to accept us straight away. That would be amazing, the gold standard, but at the end of the day, that's just not how it works. A lot of people, even my parents, super duper supportive now, couldn't ask for better parents at the time, were a little bit shocked and had questions and needed a bit of time, and that's perfectly okay. Some people just need time, and it's important for us to give that to them. And yeah, as I said, prepare for the worst, have a plan B, have someone to stay with or go have dinner with that night, have a friend that you can go and have a sleepover with, a getaway plan, have something in place for the worst. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And adding on to that, do not stress when people don't accept it immediately or have questions or seem a bit shocked. That's completely fine. People are bound to have questions. People are bound to be a little bit shocked in some situations. Others, they might be like, oh, we knew that, you know, that sort of thing. It's okay. And if you're not comfortable answering some of the questions that may or may not be thrown your way, then you can educate them in other ways. There are plenty of YouTubers and people out there who have explained gender identity, sexuality, being transgender, all those sorts of things. You can send them links, you can show them photos, you can show them documents of things, explaining things if you don't want to explain it yourself. Don't answer anything that you're uncomfortable answering. Now, my final tip is with regards to religion. This perhaps might be helpful when coming out to grandparents or older people who are religious, or anyone that's just super duper religious in your family or friendship group or whomever. I just want you to know that being part of the LGBTQ+ community, it's not a sin, okay? You are doing nothing wrong. It is who you are and you cannot change it. It is not a choice. Preparing you now, people will genuinely probably try to tell you it's a choice, which is incorrect. You cannot change this. Being a member of the LGBTQ+ community is part of your DNA. It is something you are born with. If you are gay from conception to death. If you are bi from conception to death. Same with trans, same with non-binary, etc., etc., okay? It's not something that we have control over, and that's something that we need to educate people on. Because I think a lot of people are still in that mindset. Even if they accept you, people do throw around the, oh yeah, then they chose to be gay, or they chose to be bi, or they turned this, or they turned that. We didn't turn anything. This is how we are, and this is how we've been since conception, so thanks. I'll use the example of a transgender individual. We are all born with a gender identity that you were always meant to be or always meant to have. However, sometimes our assigned sex at birth does not match according to our gender identity. So, coming out as your proper or true gender identity is a way of matching your gender expression with your true gender identity. So they are pretty much all the tips I have for you today. If you want me to do another video on this or a specific video on how to gauge and test the waters with someone before you come out to them, I can do that. Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any other important tips and tricks that you would like to share with our family, I love when you give each other advice when I can't reply to every single comment. You guys are honestly the best. I'm so glad to be back and in this new arrangement. I cannot wait to design this wall and do something cool with this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up. Share this video with anyone that you think needs to hear it or would find it helpful. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.